Hello and welcome to Wingin It. So we're back with another gameplay video here from the World Cup, and this is going to be a bit different. We are going to talk a little bit less about the game and more about one bird in particular. And yeah, as you've probably seen from the title and also from the starting hand, that bird is going to be the white stork. So yeah, I feel like this is one of those birds where everyone's got an opinion on it. Varying from people who think it's way too overpowered to people who think it's way overrated and it's actually not as good as people think, and anywhere in between. I think definitely most people will agree it is a strong bird, but it's just how strong it is that people can't really seem to agree on. But yeah, obviously getting it in a starting hand here is always a nice thing to have, and particularly with something like the blue throat in the tray as well, being able to go first here. And yeah, obviously grab that. That for me felt like almost a dream start situation here for the white stork. You not only have you got a food source there in the blue throat, but it also has plenty of egg space. And yeah, for me, I kind of feel like that is almost your most crucial currency when you've got white stork, is that having the egg space to be able to lay enough eggs, or have that space to allow yourself the turns to lay eggs so that you can keep drawing cards. And obviously, yeah, like I say, having the food source alongside that in the blue throat, just letting you get the food that you need for the cards that you draw with the white stork is so handy. So yeah, you'll see I'm kind of speeding up the gameplay here just to keep this video a bit on the shorter side, but also yeah, it's not really the primary focus, although I will obviously dip back in every so often just to see how things are going. So obviously, first few turns there pretty straightforward. Get the blue throat down, lay some eggs, get the white stork down. There was a single turn there I did go for food from the bird feeder. That was purely because I knew that egg space was going to get filled up pretty quickly regardless. So yeah, if I can avoid giving one food to my opponent, that's just going to slow them down a little bit in this early game, which yeah, I think is a good thing to be doing. But yeah, as I said, we'll kind of just generally talk a bit more about the white stork and kind of my views on it, my experiences playing with it, and yeah, just kind of where I see it fitting in. I think particularly compared to some of the other strong birds that we're very used to in this game. So kind of the natural birds to compare this to are going to be the Franklin's gull and the killdeer. So everyone is going to be pretty unanimous in agreeing that those are some of the strongest birds in the game. And that is at least one of the reasons why we have the house rules in place on the server, which do affect this World Cup tournament. So those house rules mean that the Franklin's gull, the killdeer, and of course the two ravens as well can't be played in round one. You've got to wait until round two to play them. But the white stork, being a newer bird, and yeah, one that maybe we haven't quite had enough experience with, is not yet under the house rules. So obviously it is something we're discussing, but I'm not really going to go too much into that in this video. I'm just going to more talk about my kind of personal views and experience with it. But yeah, definitely is a strong bird. I think with the house rules in place as they are, it's kind of your only real grassland card source. And a lot of people are going to compare it to wood duck, which obviously is your forest card source. So yeah, definitely kind of some parallels between the two, definitely some kind of pros and cons. And yeah, everyone seems to have a view on which is stronger than the other. I just kind of take them both as being equally strong. And obviously there are going to be situations where one is better than the other, but on the whole they're probably going to both score about the same, all else being equal. But yeah, you'll kind of see, obviously, just from this game, the way my white stork is currently working out, it's doing okay. Certainly a lot of the variance is going to depend on what cards you draw. And so at the moment I am kind of struggling to get those nice engine building birds, and I think that can make a real big difference. The key being, if you can get one of those tuck and draw birds in the grasslands, like a barn swallow or a house finch or a purple martin, anything like that, that's going to help you so much, because not only are you going to get points through the tucks, and obviously the white stork giving you cards to do that, but you're also going to help yourself by filtering through the deck that little bit more quickly and being able to grab birds from the tray. And that for me is the big downside of the white stork, is that you have to reset the tray. So if there is something in there that you like, and you'll kind of see in this game as it develops, there are going to at least be 1 or 2 situations like that where there is something I want in the tray that I obviously can't grab with the white stork. But yeah, if you have that tuck and draw, especially to the right of the white stork, so that it's going to activate first when you're laying eggs, just have that option of being able to grab something in the tray. It adds so much value, and I almost feel like without that, you are going to struggle a lot with the white stork. And yeah, without giving too much away in this game, you will kind of start to see that develop as we go on. But there we go. You will also see my opponent has got the Franklin's Gull down. So I was feeling a little bit sorry for them, obviously with the blue throat, white stork start. But yeah, now they've got Franklin's Gull, I'm not going to feel so much sorry for them. And obviously me giving away a bit of free food, and they've got a pretty nice forest as well. That is going to sort of help them out a little bit. And if they can get some good grass and birds that I'm not really managing to find, then they're sort of still in with a shot here. But yeah, as I said, it is kind of all about the cards you draw, and obviously birds like the Vo Swift and the Eurasian Nuthatch that I've been drawing, they're not amazing birds, they're not terrible. They do have a bit of egg space, and obviously they're not going to cost too much food. So being able to get the food for that with the blue throat and then play those is very nice. And of course, being able to build up this forest a bit, it does mean that, in theory, if I do get some of those bigger food cost birds later in the game, I can grab the food and play those pretty easily as well. But this is kind of a tricky moment here for me. Obviously, you see there with the white-throated swift in the tray. That's kind of a dream pairing, I think, for my opponent with their Franklin's Gull. And you might have seen as well on one of the previous turns, they grabbed the killdeer as well from the tray. So they're going to have loads of cards. They're going to want to tuck them. But for me, I didn't want to have to lay eggs here, and I didn't want to go for cards. So it was a tricky one. I went for cards. Naturally revealed the red-winged blackbird straight away, so made very little difference there to me whatsoever. But yeah, we then do get obviously my opponent playing the killdeer, so they have declined to go for the blackbird. And I wasn't really too sure about whether I should take it or not. I kind of figured if I took it, maybe like bush tit or something would come up in its place, which is always kind of a tricky one. But you see I do go for eggs there just to reset. And actually Hooded Crow is a pretty good pickup, I think. So kind of twofold. Obviously it gives you that card cycle like I was talking about. If I'm not going to be able to get that in the grasslands through something like a barn swallow, then just being able to have that sort of passively at round end, if I can get a little bit at the end of this round and a little bit at the end of the next round, then that is going to help somewhat. But equally, it's a pretty good counter towards my opponent's grasslands. So yeah, I am expecting them to lay eggs quite a lot, just to obviously help score points, a couple of egg related end of round goals, but also they're going to be drawing lots of cards. So that's going to kind of be their real strength, is using that grassland. So if I can sort of get this down and try and score some points whenever they are, that is useful. But yeah, it's definitely been a struggle, I think, in this game, not finding those grassland birds. So you see, obviously I've got that swift, I've got that kestrel as well I grabbed earlier, and there is a northern harrier in the tray. So having got the food there that I need for this hooded crow with 1 turn left, I can definitely play that and maybe look to grab that from the tray. But yeah, considering blue throat white stork went down within, what was that, 4 or 5 turns, it's kind of taken a whole 1.5 rounds before I even got close to getting something worth playing in the grasslands. And that is a real struggle indeed. But there we go, we do get some of the tucks at the round end, and there's the grackle that my opponent could potentially have ended up drawing. But we do, as I say, go for the harrier, and it means we can get that down. Very, very nice indeed. And luckily I already had the rodent, because I was kind of shaping up to play the kestrel. But yeah, definitely, as I said, I feel like there is such a high ceiling for the white stork, and I think especially when you do have something like blue throat alongside it, just kind of getting all your resources at once, that potential is really high there. So you will see that was my harrier trying to, or successfully I should say, eating the American robin. So that was a bit annoying, because I think if I hadn't played the harrier and I just laid eggs, obviously I would have drawn that through the white stork. So that would have been really, really nice to be able to get that. But yeah, that's kind of going to happen in Wingspan, I think. I think there's a rule number for that. I might have to check with Mother Love, but it always seems to be that when you're looking for a particular kind of bird, that is exactly the kind of bird that your hunters are going to try and eat. But yeah, we are going to go for food there, and that's just kind of setting us up to get this hawk down. And at least we've got some kind of grasslands, and hopefully if they can start generating some points, and obviously the Swainson's Hawk is going to help that last end of round goal as well. That is going to help out. But yeah, just generally did feel like I was kind of struggling in this game, which is so weird considering the Blue Throat White Stork combination. But it was just a case of, relying on that White Stork to try and draw cards and kind of not get the cards you want was a real frustration. But I think there's two sides to it. I think you can kind of look at it and say, oh, the White Stork on its own wasn't really generating the sufficient cards, or the right cards that you're looking for, so it clearly wasn't working. But on the flip side, I think you could argue that I probably would have drawn those kind of cards anyway. Obviously there's kind of variance in when you draw cards, and it's unlikely that you're going to draw all the bad cards and your opponent's going to draw all the good cards, but it can happen. And so yeah, it's just one of those where you think, well, if I was going to draw the same cards anyway from the wetlands, at least this way I've been able to score points through the laying eggs and obviously get some food through the Blue Throat as well. So it's not like those turns are completely dead and completely wasted, and it's not like the White Stork hasn't been doing its job, because it has obviously been generating cards. And that Hooded Crow it managed to get, I think the Swainson's Hawk as well, and obviously those two Forest Birds. So it has kind of gone some way to help get some cards. And yeah, there we go, American Bittern. So finally we are starting to get some of those big point birds, and it is getting to that point in the game now where you sort of go into the late round 3, early round 4. That's when you want to be finding these kind of birds and trying to get those down and obviously score big points. But yeah, really it's as I said, this game's all about the White Stork, and just trying to sort of use it in the right way, I suppose. And I feel like I'm still learning. I feel like it's so easy when you do have those tuck and draw birds, and you always don't need to think. You just lay eggs, you keep cycling through. If there's something good in the tray, you grab it. If there's not, well, you just keep going from the deck. And you always don't have to think. You can always just kind of go on autopilot and not really sort of use your brain too much when you're trying to sort of work out what the strategy is. But definitely here, when you've only got White Stork and you've got no other way of sort of getting those cards or maybe getting some extra points, it is a bit more sort of taxing on your brain, I felt, at least this game for me. So you might see there on that last one, I did actually draw cards from the wetlands, and that was partly because I was thinking, I'm actually short of cards. White Stork's only generating one at a time. I need some extra for this crow, not just this round, but potentially next round as well. And with minimal turns laying eggs, I'm probably expecting to go for food. Obviously, that's going to tuck some cards away, play some cards. That's going to get rid of them from my hand. So, yeah, I was a bit cautious of running out. And obviously, egg space is a real problem right now as well. Only got a few egg spaces left, so probably going to come close at least to running out as we come towards the end of this game. But that's partly at least why I do grab that golden eye. Obviously I don't especially need that pink power, but it is more just about getting something down with a bit of egg space, and obviously does help for the final end of round goal as well. So yeah, we go into the last round. Tufted Titmouse in the tray. That is another real good bird that I think you'd look for with the White Stork, and generally any sort of grassland engine, just able to get a bit more egg space, pretty cheap birds to play. So if you're running low food setups like this with just the Blue Throat, you can pretty easily get that down alongside another Forest Bird, and just give yourself a bunch of egg space. But again, it's in the tray. I don't want another turn going for cards here, so unfortunately it is going to have to stay there. But Goldeneye can at least go down and free up a bit of space. And even then, I do feel like these last few turns are quite tricky, trying to work out what the best sequence to do is. So I think probably the Bittern, like I say, and those big point birds, those are the ones you want to be playing. But equally, if I've got a bit of egg space, I can afford to legs a couple of times, see if something better comes from the White Stork. Obviously try and get some hunts on those predator birds as well. But yeah, I don't know. For me, when I kind of look at the Blue Throat White Stork combination, I think, this game's going to be easy. I almost kind of relax too much at the start. But when you go through sort of those first couple of rounds and don't get what you want, it's definitely a struggle. But there we go. That's what I'm thinking of. That Wood Stork. Definitely White Stork coming sort of back into favour, I think, in my head at least, as we came into this final round. Definitely being able to get some good pulls and yeah, help sort of get the cards I need to play and score some points, get a bit of egg space. And obviously, having the blue throat, I'd already had a rodent. I think I could grab the extra seed or the extra fish there, and then I have got that extra seed cached on the nuthatch. But obviously, through that power, I can choose to use that. So I think the plan here, in my head at least, was kind of few turns left. I can lay eggs, play a bird, lay eggs. Pretty straightforward. No real desire to go and grab food. So yeah, a bit of a tricky one there with the kind of birds that came up. I was trying to think to myself, are any of these good for me? Concluded they weren't, and then it was just about which one is best for my opponent. And I think, just all things considered at the end of round and everything, it was going to be that Oriole. So I think that is the one that I pick up just to get rid of. But yeah, for me, it's going to just be Stork and then lay eggs, I think. And obviously, you kind of gamble on bonus card, but we'll see what we can get. Obviously, one thing I have not really talked about is the bonus card I started with. So Enclosure Builder, again, not really seen any of those. So White Stork not helping in that respect. But yeah, it's a tricky one. Those nest ones, if you're not going to get the right nest types, then there's not much you can do. But yeah, here with 2 turns left, we are going to play the Stork and of course gamble on a bonus card. Unfortunately, we get 2 that we are not anywhere near getting, so as I like to do, I'm just going to skip. I'm not even going to bother keeping it. There's no point. 1 turn left, I have no hope of meeting that, so I'd rather not keep it. And unfortunately, that does mean we're going to score 0 on bonus cards, so that is definitely a bit of a bummer. And yeah, when I see my opponent has obviously got some big plays in their final round, I am starting to feel a bit nervous. It's not been the cleanest of end games. I think definitely some missed points here and there. I think I might have missed an egg on that last turn as well, and obviously Swain's Talk missing its hunt as well. So yeah, with some good bonus cards, my opponent definitely has a shot as we go into the score. So yeah, as I say, wasn't really too sure which way this one was going to go. See, slight lead for my opponent there after birds, and yeah, no bonus card points to 11. I am always going to be fighting back a bit here. I pulled back some ground there with the end of round goals, and a little bit more with the eggs there to bring it back even. No food on the cards, and then obviously a few tuck cards do get me over the line in the end. So that was a relief to get the win, 99 to 88. And yeah, kind of concluding thoughts, I guess, on the White Stork. As I say, there's 2 ways to look at it. I think you could look at it and say 99 is probably below average for that starting hand. Definitely Blue Throat, White Stork. I've kind of harped on about it this video, but that is just such a strong combination to get early on. And I think you'd expect a lot higher than 99. But equally, it is still a strong score. Ultimately, in this case, a game-winning score. And 2 missed bonus cards and to still get nearly 100 points. And yeah, just a couple of decent bonus cards, you'd be looking at sort of 110, maybe 115, and then I wouldn't even be having this conversation. I'd be saying how amazing the White Stork is to enable such a high score. But yeah, let me know what you think. Obviously, I wanna know your views on the White Stork. Don't critique the gameplay too much. Definitely wasn't the cleanest game, I don't think. But yeah, I do feel like the White Stork could have done me better here. But as I say, just being able to sort of hammer that grasslands, and I think I only had maybe a couple of turns actually drawing cards, and even those were slightly questionable. But yeah, just being able to obviously go through the grasslands and get the cards and the food and some of those tuck cards as well through the hunting powers was nice. And yeah, ultimately did get me the win. So I don't want to sound too bitter. I don't want to complain too much. I'll definitely take it. But yeah, there we go. Thank you everyone for watching. As I say, do let me know your views on the White Stork in the comments. Do you think it's overrated? Do you think it's overpowered? I'm very interested to hear your thoughts. But yeah, for now, I'll leave that one there. And yeah, do please consider subscribing to stay up to date with future World Cup gameplay content.